Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse. My name is George, and if this is your first time here or you've been here before but have not subscribed yet, please do so, along with hitting that thumbs up button for me. And when you subscribe, please turn on the notification bell if you haven't already. Also, please drop your comments. Love to hear the comments. This is going to be an interesting report here. Some news came out today after Thursday's practice. Some various updates on all four of the currently injured Knicks. Yep, 80% of the Knicks starting rotation is injured and out. And today we got some interesting news. We'll get into it. Let's get right to it. All right, so this is like a summary right here of all four of the guys, and I'll get into details on this, and also look at the standings and the schedule. We're going to look at the strength of schedule for all the remaining, for the teams in the East. For Brunson, it was reported that he took part in most of the practice today. And just very recently, before I started recording this, it was put out that he was listed as questionable, because originally Thibs didn't know what he was going to be listed as. But he's listed as questionable. So that is good news. He's progressing in the right direction, and I have more detail on that pretty soon. But mostly what was said at the practice by Mr. Josh Hart was... Here we go. He said he looked regular, looked good. Practices a lot of starting and stopping, so it's kind of hard to judge if a player has overcome an injury sometimes, Josh Hart said. And then, but he looked good, looked confident, and not like he was limping or dragging his leg or nervous to make movements. So that is obviously a positive. So I think he's trending in the right direction. He will most likely be back for tomorrow's game against the Friday night game against the Orlando Magic, or the Sunday game. So fingers crossed on that. Let's get to, so then OG Anunoby, that one was a really good report. He took part in a 5-on-5 scrimmage, and now he's listed as day-to-day. So, I mean, it could be as soon as that first game against the Sixers. Again, fingers crossed. Randle, no full contact, but he practiced with pads. He's making good progress. That's what the latest update there. No dates or anything, so it's hard to decipher his return date at that point. But I'll make some guesstimates. And for Mitch Robinson, this is good. He can run and jump in practice. Looked good, but no contact yet. All right, let's get into some more details here. So Fred Katz tweeted this out this morning. This morning for me. It was like noon for you guys. Jalen Brunson did most of practice today, Tom Thibodeau said he doesn't know what the Knicks will list him as on the upcoming injury report. So now we know. He's listed as questionable. And for OG Anunoby, they said that he's doing contact drills and playing 5-on-5. Nice. And Fred tweeted this out to follow up on that. OG Anunoby is going through contact drills and is playing 5-on-5 now, Tom Thibodeau said. Sounds like he's getting closer. Thibodeau said he's now day-to-day, but he hasn't been cleared to fully play yet. I think that's just a matter of days, honestly. Matter of days right there. And then this is from the Daily News. Christian Winfield, I think he put this article out. Nice update here. And this is on Randle. Randle's also progressing. He was a limited participant in Thursday's practice, but he cannot take full contact, but is participating in practice with pads and can take light contact, Thibodeau said. So he'll come back when he feels comfortable, when he feels like he is ready to be able to handle the stress of playing through pain. And to be more specific, he said Thibodeau said the Knicks won't let Randle back onto the court until he fully trusts his body. So I think he's on target for that by end of March, the whole team being healthy. Same with Robinson. As you can see here, this is what Fred also tweeted out here. Just taking all of Fred's tweets. There was a great update this morning for me. Tom Thibodeau, Mitch looks good. He told me to tell everyone that. So that type of sense of humor, I love that. That shows that Thibs is really focusing in on, well, not focusing. He is welcoming Robinson's return and anticipating Robinson's return. I don't think they would pump this up this much if they didn't really feel that he was going to return this year. So it does look does look like he is most likely going to make that return that we had been hoping for, and it will happen by the end of March. So this is good news, guys. This is good news. And then when you get a little closer into the details here, Robinson expected back sooner than expected. The one thing about him is that he's been sticking to his rehab process, and he's making good, steady progress. But he hasn't taken any contact yet, which is totally reasonable, at this point. But he's jumping. He's jumping and running, and that is incredibly important for him. So there's a good chance right here that by the game highlighted in yellow, that we will most likely have OG and Jalen Brunson back in time for that second Sixers game. That's on Tuesday. Now, it's also very possible that Brunson is ready to come back even for Friday. So Brunson may already be back for all of these games. And OG, if he's progressing that well, if he's doing let's say tomorrow he wakes up, no issues with his elbow, no soreness whatsoever, and he feels good, I can't see how they could hold him out of the Sunday game. So he may return March 10th, which is also I was hoping. I targeted March 12th as the date for him to return, and Randle March 23rd, which is the game against the Brooklyn Nets here at home. And then for Mitch, I targeted the March 27th date, which is an away game in Toronto. So I think these dates are looking reasonable, but the OG one, he could come back even earlier. And it's the earlier the better, because things are getting tight in the East. Very tight in the East. As you can see here, it's the standings. The Knicks are now in 5th place, sandwiched right between Orlando and Miami, just half games between each two. And then the Sixers are right there, just one game behind us, and the Pacers are only a game and a half behind us. So that is 5 teams jockeying for that fourth, the playoff position, 4 through 6. So that's 5 teams jockeying for 4 through 6. However, we all know by now, because it's been discussed everywhere, you want to avoid Boston. I mean, the way they're playing is just insane. However, I think the game that happened the other night against the Cleveland Cavaliers without Donovan Mitchell and without Mobley, I believe, that the Cleveland Cavaliers were able to come back from being down 20 points in that fourth quarter and steal that game away from the Celtics. Was it in Cleveland? I can't remember. I think it was actually in Cleveland. Either way, that shows that Boston can't have off nights. They can be caught off guard. So in a 7-game series, it's going to be tough to win 4 games off of them. But if the Knicks are fully healthy, they have the best chance of any team listed right here. I have no doubt about that. And if the Knicks can return in time so they can have at least 10 games together, which they, at this point, if Mitch comes back by the 27th and Randle by the 23rd, then they will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games together. Now, it's possible that you may rest some guys in between there, depending on how the standings start working out. But if you look at this situation right here, I guesstimate that the Knicks will need at least 52 wins to get the 3rd seed. Now, the reason I bring up the 3rd seed is because Cleveland, even though they did pull off that win against the Celtics, which was amazing, they did lose to the Hawks last night. And, injuries are catching up to them. Donovan is out, Mobley's out, and I believe Max Strus is out. So who knows? They might go into a bit of a skid at this point, especially when you look at the strength of schedule, which we'll do right now. So here's the strength of schedule of the remaining games. So the team with the toughest schedule is the Bucks, and then Charlotte, Indiana, Sixers, and Cleveland. Those have the toughest 5 schedules in the East. The good thing for us is 2 of those teams are above us in the standings, and 2 of those another 2 teams are right below us in the standings, the Sixers and Indiana. So the Knicks are right there, right in the middle. They have the 7th hardest strength of schedule, so they're right in the middle of the pack. If they can get healthy, man, they could run the table. So right now, the New York Knicks are 36-26. 20 games remaining. So that means for them to get 52 wins, to get that third seed, they will need to go 16-4 for the remaining 20 games. Sounds crazy? Well, when you consider that they went 14-2 in January when they were mostly healthy. They didn't even have Mitch for that. So I think it's totally within the realm of possibility. Now, they do have some tough games. They have games against the Celtics. They have OKC. They got Denver. They got the Bucks. And they have the Magic. One thing I didn't talk about was the Orlando Magic. They are the pesky team right there. Their strength of schedule is not that strong. Their opponents are averaging 481 winning percentage at this point. And the same goes for Miami, a 460 winning percentage. So the fact that those two teams we're sandwiched in between those two teams, and they have a weaker strength of schedule that goes in their favor. So they're a concern, especially Orlando. And since we play them on Friday, it would be great to have Jalen Brunson in time for that game, and maybe we could just steal that game because I think they've beaten us 3-0 this season, I believe. I don't think we've won a game off of Orlando, and it's often been because of a lot of key players have missed those particular games. Brunson didn't play the last game against them, and I believe, was it OG? I can't remember, but we have not faced them with our best players yet. So that's still to be determined at that point. However, to get that third seed, we're going to need those guys to take some losses. So right now, Orlando's toughest opponents are the Clippers, and they play the Bucks twice, and they play the Pelicans twice. And then they play us, they play the Kings, and the Sixers. I'm not considering them that toughest, but they are above plus 500 team at this point. So those are games that, honestly, they could lose all of those games. So that's 5, 6, 7. Yeah, let's say they go 7-1. I mean, 1-7 in those games. That'll impact their record tremendously. I mean, it's possible. Now they could also go. They've been playing very well. They could also go, 4-3, and they could go many different ways. Now, in terms of the Miami Heat, who they're kind of an odd team. They've been playing well lately. I think they're one of the hottest teams in the East. They have OKC. They have Denver. They have the Cavs twice. So that's nice. If the Cavs and Miami can split those games, boom, that helps us. We gain a half game on them. They also play the Pelicans, and then they have us, and then they play the Sixers twice. So the Sixers without Embiid and Maxey's and concussion protocol, it's kind of a softer game. So we're going to need Miami to just shoot themselves in the foot and trip all over themselves and lose some games for us to maintain the lead that we have on them and to get that third seed. But the most important thing that needs to happen is Jalen Brunson needs to return, and then OG Anunoby needs to return and not look back. Just stay healthy, play the rest of the way, and then we await Julius Randle around the 23rd of March, and I think we'll be looking good. We'll be looking good, I think. All right, let's get back to this here. So this is the recaps here. Brunson, took part in most of practice. Now he's listed questionable. I think he's going to play on Friday, tomorrow. Anunoby, most likely, he's already doing 5-on-5 scrimmages, and it wasn't just a light scrimmage, from what I understand. Let's see here. Let's get this is from the Daily News article. Yeah, he's now day to day. He was a full participant in Knicks practice on Thursday, even playing in what Bojan Bogdanovic described as a really, really competitive 5-on-5 scrimmage. Great sign. I mean, there's even a chance he could come back tomorrow, but play it safe. He comes back on Sunday. That's what we need, because we need to be able to. I want to win all 4 of these games. We take all 4 of these games, the Knicks are on their, or at least go 3-1. The Knicks are on their way to achieving that 16-4 goal to get the third seed. Now, here's something. If for some reason the returns aren't so smooth, and we encounter some other hiccups, stumbles along the way. I don't want to use the I word, but let's say things like that happen, and it's not looking like we're going to be able to get those 52 wins. If we fall at the 49 win mark, which is what I'm predicting, which I predicted 2 22 games ago. I did a video called The Last 22 Games Projections, and I predicted that they would go 14-8. With the similar type of return dates, 14-8, which would leave them at 49 wins and 33 losses. That is the 5th seed. That's most likely would project at the 5th seed. Not where you want to be, because then you have to play the 4th seed, and you play them, the 4th seed on their home court, which would most likely be Orlando or Cleveland or Miami, depending on the situation. And that'll be a tough first round. But not that I'm afraid of it, but that's just the situation it'll be. But at least we won't be in the play-in. Now, but the problem is that in the second round, you face the Celtics. We want to push that off as far as possible. So at that point, if with the final remaining 10 games, 8 to 10 games, and it's not looking like we can even get to the 3rd seed, I think Thibodeau should display some prudence at this point and rest some guys. Rest Isaiah Hartenstein. Even rest Mitch at times, because he's going to be working his way back in. The guy to rest too is Randle. Rest Randle. You don't want to have him play a game that he doesn't need to play necessarily, and then possibly, re-eye that, shoulder. So at this point, if you want to end up with 47 wins, which is most likely going to be the 6th seed, then the Knicks only have to go 11-9. 11-9 for the rest of the way, and that is so doable. And that's with resting guys. Rest Brunson. Why not give Brunson another rest? Later on towards the end of the schedule, when we're playing like the Nets, and we have the Bulls 3 times from April 5th to the 14th. We play the Bulls 3 times. Just let's rest some players. Let's try to get into the playoffs and go in as fresh as possible and as sharp as possible. That would be the goal. All right. Well, there we go. I think this is some good news, because it all seems like everybody is progressing in the direction that we were led to believe they were going to go in at this point. So things are going smoothly. Let's hope they continue. All right. I will see you around the Knicks-Verse.